everybody, Keren here from tuppencecoloured.co.uk, and thank you very much for joining me. Today I am showing you the last of the 4 projects that I've made during my turn on the Pootles design team. And of course I've been using Lovely Stitching because that's the stamp set that we've all been using for the month of August. So here is my card. Very, very pretty colours. I really do like these 2 colours together. And when you open it up, there is a surprise inside because there is a surprise bouquet. Now this kind of pop-up is very straightforward to do, and if you stay with me I'll show you how I made it. I have some of the stamps from the Lovely Stitching set already mounted up in my block ready to go, so I've been using that one, that one, that one, and that one, and that one for the front of my card. And I'm using Mint Macaron, Tip Top Taupe and Flirty Flamingo. And I'm going to start with the Mint Macaron because that's the colour I'm going to do the stems and the leaves out of. And I've got a piece of Whisper White here, which is about 3 inches by I think roughly 4. It's not critical because I am going to cut it down later. So I'm just going to stamp that about there, and that's good to go. So now I have the one that looks like leaves. I'm going to stamp a couple of those. Okay, so I finished now with the Mint Macaron. I'm going to take that off my block because I've only got 2 of these blocks, and I want to use that for my centres of my flowers. So I'm going to stamp the petals in Flirty Flamingo. And I am really liking the way that the Flirty Flamingo and the Mint Macaron look together. I think it's really, really pretty. So round about there and press down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and that's come out very nicely. So I am happy with that. And last of all, the Tip Top Taupe. So I'm going to stamp the centre of the flower, Tip Top Taupe, and I'm also going to fill in the centre of the sleeve. Right, here is my flower, which I have die cut out with the second to largest of the smooth edged layering ovals, and I've then cut it out a piece of Flirty Flamingo with the largest of the scalloped edge ovals, and I've mounted them together. So that is going to go onto the front of my card, and while I was at it I stamped and fussy cut out a few more of the flowers, and they're going to go on the inside of my card. So that's what I want to do next, is work on the mechanism for the inside of my card. So I'm going to pop those to one side just for a moment. So this is my base card, a piece of Flirty Flamingo. It's A4, and I've cut it pretty much in half, and I think that's about 5 3/4, and about 8 inches wide, and folded it in half, and that is my base card. Now I quite often make a card that opens in a tent-fold direction, but today it is important that the card opens this way, because this is going to be the pop-up mechanism, and that is going to need to go on the inside of my card. Now this is a piece of Mint Macaron, which is it's an 1 3/4, that's an 1 3/4, so help me out, 3.5 inches, I think that's right, and it's 1.5 inches deep, creased 1 3/4, and again at 1/2 inch, so that goes so that is going to form a flap. And it's quite important that at the middle I've cut off the corner, so that is a 45-degree angle. Okay, so that is important that you get that angle at least as big as that, because otherwise the pop-up won't work properly. And I want to do one more thing with this, and that is to sort of cut it so that it looks a bit like, you know, a bank of flowers. Okay, So this is going to be what makes my pop-up work. Got tear and tape on the back, and I'm going to position this, I'm hoping you can see, quite high up on my card, with the V cut out either side, just either side of the centrefold. There's one, here's the other, and this kind of card, this kind of pop-up mechanism is called a V-fold, and it's a very useful little fold, and I'm positioning it quite high up, almost at the top, and when I shut my card, I'm just checking that it folds and that it pops up again. Okay, so now I'm going to take my flowers, and to begin with I'm just going to put a little bit of snail at the bottom, because I want to make sure that when I close my card these don't pop out, and I can see that they don't. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to arrange my pop-up flowers onto my mechanism. And there you go, that's my pop-up garden of flowers. I want to finish off the front of my card now, so I have my image all ready to go on the front, and I've got a piece of mint macaron envelope paper, and I've cut that to 3 3/4 by 5 1/2, and I've got some Flirty Flamingo ruched ribbon, and I'm going to put that around the front of my card. Now, envelope paper is more like a copy paper. It's much thinner than our usual DSP. It's not as robust, so I'm going to be quite careful about how I tie this, and I'm probably going to do, in fact I know I'm going to do a faux knot. So that's my length that I'm going to put around the front of my card, the front of my paper, and I'm just going to cut another piece of the same ribbon, and I'm just going to tie it in a knot, and then that is going to look as though I have two pieces of ribbon joined together, when in fact I do have two pieces of ribbon joined together, but not in the way that it looks like. And I'm going to trim that down a little bit, because that's a little bit longer than I want. I love this colour. I really love this colour. I didn't think it was going to be as gorgeous as it is when I first saw it, but it is absolutely luscious. Okay, so I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to put it, and I'm putting about an inch from the bottom, and I'm just eyeballing it, and I'm just going to hold it down with a bit of tear and tape, which doesn't want to tear. Tear and tape is making a liar out of me. Okay, and that goes down there, and that could actually probably be pulled in slightly. There we go. And some fuse, fast fuse on the back, just to make sure it stays stuck down. Let's just bring that in to the front of my card, and I'm being very, very careful not to put any kind of pressure on this until I'm absolutely sure that that is where I want it to be, because fuse is, once it's stuck, it is stuck. It's not going anywhere. Okay, tie my knot, and That's still a little bit long, but you know, it's always easier to cut it longer than you need, even though it does seem quite wasteful, because you can always chop a bit off. If you haven't cut it long enough, then you're going to have to cut a whole other length and start again. So it's you know, it is better to err on the side of too much rather than too little. Okay, so let's have some dimensionals on the back here. I don't seem to have been using as many dimensionals as I have done in the past. What is that one doing there? How did that get there? Get off. Get off, you horrible thing. There we are. Ach, you horrible dimensional. Oh dear, usually it's the glue dots that that play me up. Tonight it's the dimensionals. Okay, that's enough. I'm not doing any more. That's me a lot. Now why is the release paper sticking to the dimensional? This should not be possible. There we go. And I just dig in with the tip of my piercing tool and flick. Dig, flick. Dig and flick. I've already done that one, that's why it doesn't want to come off. Okie dokie. Okay, so I'm just going to position this onto the front of my card. And that is the front. Done. The inside of the card, although the pop-up is really cute, I thought the inside of the card was just a little bit plain. So I've decided to line it with some more of the envelope paper, and it probably would have worked better if I'd done this before I stuck the pop-up mechanism down, but you know what, it's a change of design direction. So I've cut myself 2 pieces of the mint macaron envelope paper to 3 3/4 by 5.5, and I'm just going to put that up against where my pop-up is, and I'm just going to fold over the edge, and then I'm going to chop that away. And now I'm going to apply this to the inside of my card, like this. Just like that. And I'm going to do the same for this side. I have one flower left over from those that I fussy cut, so I'm going to put that over here. And there we are. And will those fit here? Yes, they will, so that'll cover up the background as well. Yeah, it would have been easier if I thought of doing this before I actually started sticking things down, but no one's perfect. I'm very not perfect. Definitely not perfect. So that actually is a little bit too long, I think. I'm going to trim that down slightly. There you go. And there we have it. Floppy flowers. Yay! And here it is finished. And if I open it up, there are my flowers. Now I did go back and I added some extra reinforcement to the back of the flowers. You can see that there. I just cut some roughly 1/4 inch strips of mint macaron card and I just stuck them to the back of the stems of the flowers with a bit of Tombow, because I wasn't really happy with the way they were getting really floppy the more I opened and closed the card. So that is it for this week. I do hope that you've enjoyed the project, and if so, please do subscribe to my channel, give me a like, leave me a comment, check out the information in the more information box below, visit my blog, visit my Facebook page, all of that good stuff. I absolutely love it if you would do any of those things, and I hope I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.